Between the hills, the stars, the sky, the river so clear, river so clear.
Let us join in a spirit of meditation, reflection, or prayer as we deepen into our service and share our opening words for this morning. This reading comes from Judith G. Mannheim and is titled Honor and Understand Our Lives. We gather together in this space to honor and understand our lives. We bring our pasts and would share them, our dreams and would express them. We use words, song, silence, and gesture. Words cannot define our lives, but they enable us to reach out to each other, to tell and to listen, that we may be renewed, connected, and unburdened. Apprehend with wonder the lives of those around you, for from wonder to wonder, existence opens. It's a quote from Lao Tzu. For our chalice lighting this morning, we join Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists all over the world in lighting our chalice. Thank you, Will, for lighting the chalice, which is a symbol of the spark of life in each of us. If you are on Zoom and have your chalice with you, I invite you to turn on your video to share while we light them. We are in good company. Our chalice lighting words are Give Thanks, Feel Alive, and Know Love by Leah Derlin-Jones. As we light this flame, we remember friends and loved ones, near and far, and we give thanks. As the fire burns brightly, we open our minds and hearts to new ways of being, and we feel alive. As the room glows with warmth and kindness, we extend our circle ever wider to welcome those who want to come in, and we know love. And now we have a story for all ages. If anyone would like to come closer so they can see the pictures better, please do so. This morning's story is Say Anything, written and illustrated by Peter H. Reynolds.
Say something.
The world needs your voice. Mine? Yes, yours.
Go ahead. It doesn't need to be perfect as long as it's from your heart.
You don't have to be loud. Powerful words can be whispered.
You can say something so many ways, with words, with action, with creativity.
If you see someone lonely,
say something by just being there for them.
If you see an empty canvas,
say something with your brush.
If you see an empty lot,
say something by planting seeds and watching it bloom.
If you see somebody being hurt,
say something by being brave. Hey, stop.
If you see something beautiful,
say something with a poem.
If you see a brilliant idea, if you have a brilliant idea,
say something with confidence. Eureka!
Eureka! If you want to show the world who you are,
say something with style.
Ta-da! If you're angry,
say something to help people understand. You made me feel invisible. That really hurt. I'm really sorry.
If you
see an injustice, say something peaceful. Inspire others to do the same.
No more hurting people.
Sometimes you'll say something and no one will be listening, but keep saying what is in your heart.
And you will find someone who listens.
Let's see that part.
Keep saying it.
And you may be surprised to find the whole world is listening.
We are going, heaven knows where we are going, but we know within
And now heading into today's program is the second of a series of interviews with our congregation members. Today I'll be interviewing CJ Larsen about her life and experience in the UU Church. CJ, if you'd join us up front. The first question I always just think is really interesting is what led you to the UU faith? How did you come to UU in the first place?
I could say it in 15 seconds, or do you want the more circuitous route?
Circuitous is always more informative.
Right. Well, I was a happy Lutheran, born in Watford City, moved to Bismarck. Lutheran Church was right across the street in Highland Acres. And I was active in the Lutheran League. Went away to college, happened to be a Lutheran college, St. Olaf. And though I always had been questioning, I had difficulty with this Holy Ghost stuff. And so in St. Olaf, at St. Olaf, chapel every day, and I only went when it was my fellow students speaking, because they were more questioning and interesting. My first teaching job was in Reedsburg, Wisconsin, and the house that I moved into was literally 4 houses away from the Lutheran Church. And the first knock on the door was from the Lutheran minister welcoming me. And he said he always loved to have St. Olaf graduates in the church. I mean, it was heavy Lutheran stuff. And he had just seen my picture on the front cover of the National Lutheran Standard, which, second to the Bible, is the most read magazine in a Lutheran household. And I had spent my summer after graduation in the South, in Alabama. It is a very dangerous place to be. And I did not go to church. I came back, went to graduate school, came back to Bismarck to write my paper thesis. And again, I'm right across in the Lutheran Church, and my parents were going, and it was a bit of an affront for me to stay home and sleep. It seemed disrespectful. And so back into the Lutheran Church I was, welcomed with open arms. Would I be the Luther League supervisor? Would I do this? Would I do that? But kept questioning. In 1972, I just decided I was confused in life, didn't know what I wanted to do, other than I was pretty certain that I was not ready for marriage. And children that I'd had asthma, severe asthma as a kid, and I thought, why would I bring another asthmatic child into the world? I mean, that's actually, and so in 1972, I packed a little backpack that had been given to me by my parents as I graduated from, or as I left graduate school, and bought an around the world airline ticket, and had a friend who said, oh, I could go with you for a month. I thought, great. And she said, but I'd like to go to Japan. And so I just changed my direction and we went to Asia. And it was in that travel experience that it was like, the world isn't Christian. Isn't this amazing? And they seemed to be, the people that I was with seemed to be fulfilled and happy. They were excited to show me one more Buddha, and but what I did, I remember this distinctly in Taiwan, that there was actually a Lutheran church, and I just happened to see a sign about this Lutheran church in their program. So what the heck? I went, and afterwards they had a social hour, and at the social hour were people. There were Taiwanese young people who wanted to learn English, and they were happy as clams to take me all over the city practicing English. And it was from this experience that I saw, let me take you to this Buddha, and then this Buddha, and this Buddha. And I thought, I don't think I'm going to be replicating this in other countries I go to, but it was just such a relief to know that questioning was okay. I mean, here I came from a Lutheran college in which kids were questioning, but most of them stuck with Lutherandom. And so when I came back from my trip, got a job, Satram Travel, and it was in 1980 that I met Janice Chaney. We were big into the feminist movement together, and we're teaching a little class on from the personal to the political. I mean, and getting to know Janice in the course of the next 2 or 3 years, there was a point in which she said, why don't you come to the church that I go to? Said, what's that? Unitarian, where is it? What? This little building doesn't even have a steeple on it. It doesn't even have a sign. It didn't have the sign by the street. And so I came, and it was Arnie Laren and Clarence Bina and and John Conrad and Betty Mills. And they were sitting in a circle on the old metal chairs that we still have. And they were in discussion, and they were arguing. And I left and I said, Janice, is this a church? And she said, well, sometimes it's a little more structured. Well, I went on and off, but my mother was still living, and so I would go to church with her also. Then, after she died, Janice said I'd come to this church, and she said, could we take a walk? And went to Saratoga Park. And she said, I have just been asked to be president of this congregation. And I would do it if you would be treasurer. I said, Janice, I'm not even a member. You know? She said, and I kind of don't even know what Unitarians are doing. And she said, well, you'd be really good at this. And I think you kind of like us. So why don't you just try it? I said, well, I really, my values say I have to be a member of something in which I'm going to have authority over their checkbook. Well, here's the membership book. And so I became a member. And it was kind of slow going at first. And finally, I read a book, Our Chosen Faith. I don't know who recommended it. It could have been Janelle Cole or Janice. And that was it. All the questions that I had been asking these two Unitarian ministers were asking. So I said, I'm in. And I started reading more. There's a plethora of books. I started going to General Assembly. And that was really my faith experience, was going to General Assembly. So that's the long answer. And I'm still here.
Umyaya.
Yeah. Yeah.
So from that point then, how have your beliefs either been affirmed or how have they changed?
They have been deepened. It was certainly the first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of everyone, and the seventh principles, honoring the earth. Those are my linchpins, and they have been deepened, and they've been deepened through the social justice activity that we've, as a congregation, been willing to do.
So one of the themes of this series is thinking about fears and hopes for the future. So I think about like the context of locally, nationally, globally. What are some of the fears that you have, just given your history with the church and a history with the area?
The last couple of weeks have certainly put fear in my heart. You know, I currently I have some fear for the democratic process. I I have fear for the hatred, and I just reflect back in 1972. I did not feel that in the world. Um, uh, and so you say fear, and what's your?
And the flip side was, what makes you hopeful? What do you see out there that makes you hopeful for the future?
What makes me hopeful is my interactions with teenagers, young people. They are puzzled by what is going on around them, and I don't have any answers other than be nicer to people. But I am hopeful because of their curiosity. And I'm really talking about the young people that I have been interacting with in this community, and on some of the recent trips I've taken, that they're willing to be engaged. They just haven't found a way yet to be engaged. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as this younger generation grows up, I hope that they are steered and guided towards that more open and accepting attitude that they seem to have nationally at large.
Yeah.
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 And finally, as you are just incredibly involved with our congregation and the UU organization as a whole, what advice would you have to anyone out there that is looking to become more involved or thinking about it?
In this particular congregation?
Yeah.
I would say start reading, but start with Our Chosen Faith. And just step into, I mean, this congregation doesn't have a lot of committees, but just step into one. You know, I remember stepping in my first days in this fellowship. I remember I said, so Janice, I mean, Janice was my go-to. So Janice, how come don't you have service programs? So that when people walk in, they kind of get something, they kind of have a sense of what's going to be going on. It would take some of the edge off walking into a new place. She said, well, I don't know. We could talk about that. I think we have a service program today. And so I just say, you just, and visiting with other people. What is it that keeps them at the UU? What could be done differently? How could we become more active in the community? Are questions that I'm always asking. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, just say yes to things, right?
You must have picked those hymns for me. Saying yes.
All we should.
Right. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing your journey.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We'll extinguish our chalice and have one more piece of music. We invite everyone to stay for conversation immediately after this service. Zoom participants are invited to stay for fellowship on Zoom. We'll now extinguish our chalice with these words, "Until we meet again," by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. May all our hours together be blessed, as this one has been, by open-hearted sharing, learning from one another, and making beautiful harmonies together. And may we greet everyone we encounter with the same acceptance and grateful kinship. Until we meet again, blessed be.